So in today's lecture, we shall discuss about the various features of Arduino Uno board. In fact, this Arduino Uno board is very much popular for the development of some prototype because it is easily available in the market. The cost for this board is very less, and the softwares which are required for the development of the application program is freely available on the internet. So this board is very much popular among the students and even among the engineers for the development of products. Now, before coming to this Arduino Uno board, we shall discuss the structure of embedded system structure. So basically, what is embedded system? Embedded system is a system which perform few or single task repeatedly. So if you see some characteristics of the embedded system, then this is the important characteristic. It performs single task or very few tasks repeatedly. And another characteristic of embedded system is it is reactive to the surrounding environment. So the meaning of this is, if there is change in the physical parameter in the surrounding environment, then this system should respond. Now, to develop an embedded system, what we need? We need sensors. Here you can see this is one sensor. The purpose of this sensor is to sense the physical environment. So here it will sense the physical environment. Now the sensor, it converts the physical quantity here into electrical quantity. Into electrical quantity. Now this electrical quantity is it is in the form of analog signal, right? It is in the form of analog signal. Analog signal. Now nowadays the processor which is used for the processing of this signal is a digital signal. Is a digital processor. So this analog signal, which is the output of sensor, has to be converted in digital form. So for that we have here another block. This is analog to digital converter. So if this analog to digital converter, it converts the analog signal generated by sensor into digital signal. So now this digital signal which is available here, this is the digital signal now. This is now digital signal. Now this digital signal is processed by this processor. Now this processor, it can be your microprocessor like 8085, like 8086, or this processor can be microcontroller like 8051, or this processor is uh, uh, is a ASIC, application specific integrated circuit, and which is developed by using VLSI technology, right? So processor, a designer can select the processor. It can be a microprocessor, it can be a microcontroller, or it can be some ASIC type of processor. So now this processor will process the digital data, which is in fact the output, which is this digital data, whatever you got here, this is generated with reference to the physical environment, which is sensed by this sensor. So this processor will process it, then it will generate some output. So here whatever output is generated, this is digital, right? So here we are getting a output which is digital in nature. Now this digital output is again passed through one block, which is digital to analog converter. So this digital to analog converter, it converts back this digital signal into analog signal. And this analog signal is used to operate the actuators like motor, right? So this is basically a full structure of a embedded system. So if we talk about the early days, at that time when we were having the microprocessor or microcontrollers, at that time ADC and DAC, these were not the part of the processor. So you have to connect this ADC and DAC externally. So the life of design engineer was tough, but now these things are fabricated in one board, right? Or even you can say in one processor. So now we have the processor which are having inbuilt ADC. Some processors are having even digital to analog converters also inbuilt. So we can use these processors for the development of the product. So with this background, we will move to our next slide, and so here we will start our discussion on Arduino Uno board. So in this lecture series, we will use this Arduino Uno board for the demonstration purpose, and in fact this Arduino company manufacture lot of variants of the Arduino boards, and Arduino Uno is one of that variant. And this Arduino Uno is very much popular due to its low cost and the availability of the softwares for the development of the application program. So now in this Arduino board, we can apply input voltage 6 volt to 12 volt DC. So this is a recommended voltage range which can be applied to these pins. So here you can see there are few pins like pin number 0, pin number 1, so up to pin number 13 are there. So you can apply input voltage in the range of 6 volt to 12 volt, right? So that is the recommended voltage to apply the inputs. Now if basically first of all we have to turn on this Arduino board. Now to turn on this Arduino board, we have to apply a 5 volt signal DC. So we have to apply a 5 volt DC, right? This is a requirement to turn on Arduino board. To turn on Arduino board, right? And this 6 volt to 12 volt DC, this voltage, this is the voltage range, this recommended voltage range which we can apply to these input pins, right? So these are the voltage range which we can apply to these input pins. But to turn on this Arduino, we need this 5 volt DC. So now, to turn on Arduino, there are basically 3 methods, right? We can apply this 5 volt DC by using 3 methods. And here to provide this voltage, there are 3 methods. One, here this is a USB connector. So this is a USB connector. This one. So from this connector we can connect this Arduino Uno board with the computer, and this Arduino board will get the power from the computer through this USB board, and it will be a USB cable, and it will be power on. And the second method is by using this power jack, right? So this is one power connector. So we can connect a 220 volt adapter at this power connection, and the adapter will convert the 220 volt into 5 volt, near about 5 volt, and with that 5 volt this Arduino board will be power on. Now the third method to power on this is, you see here, this is one pin named as V in. So here if you connect a voltage 5 volt DC, then also this board is this Arduino board will be power on. Once the board is power on, then you can see here there is one LED, right? This is your power on LED. So this is power on LED. So once the board is on, this LED will glow. So this is the indication that your Arduino board is on. Now here you can see this IC, right? This is your controller, main processor, and this is at Mega 328. This is the number of this processor. This processor is developed by Atmel company, and Arduino Uno board has Atmega 328 microcontroller, right, or processor. And this is a 28 pin IC, right? You can see here this is a pin number 1 here, and you count 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10 11 12 13 14, and this is pin number 14, and this side this is pin number 15, and this is your pin number 28. So this is a 28 pin IC, and this is the main brain of this process, this Arduino board, because all the processing is done inside this IC. Okay. Now this processor Atmega again I write here at mega 3 to 8. So this at mega 3 to 8 is basically having an architecture which is based on RISC. It has a RISC architecture. So RISC means reduce. I indicate instruction. Instruction set. S indicate instruction set. C means computer. So the architecture of this at mega 3 to 8, this processor is based on RISC architecture, reduce instruction set computer. So total number of instructions for this processor is 131 instructions. So if you will write a assembly language program, at that time you will use these instructions, but in our this course we will use the embedded C program. The program, the language which we will use here, it is a variant of C and C++, right? And that language we will use. We are not going to use the assembly language. If we will use the assembly language, then these 131 instructions will come in the picture. Now out of these 131 instructions, 95% instructions, 95% instructions execute in one clock, right? 95 instructions execute in one clock cycle. So most of the instructions of this processor executes in one clock cycle, and the advantage of this is the implementation of the pipeline. The implementation of a pipeline concept is very much efficient in this at mega 3 to 8. So we will not go in that architectural detail, but you just understand the pipeline concept. If pipeline is implemented in this processor, then speed of the execution of the instructions will be very fast, right? And for the efficient way, for the implementation of this pipeline in efficient way, the important thing which is required is most of the instructions should execute in same clock cycle, that is one, right? So here 95% of instructions they execute in one clock cycle. So due to that, the implementation of the pipeline is very efficient, and due to that pipeline concept, the speed of the operation is fast. Okay. Now this processor, it requires a clock signal, and that clock signal is provided by this crystal. So here you can see this. So this is a crystal, right? This is a crystal of 16 megahertz. So this crystal generate a clock, right? Like this. This is a clock signal. right? So this type of clock signal is generated, and the frequency of this clock signal is 16 megahertz, because this crystal is of 16 megahertz, and this clock is used by this processor as a reference signal for doing various processings, right? So for doing the various processing, one reference signal is required by this processor. So that reference signal is provided by this crystal, and the clock signal which is generated by this crystal is of 16 megahertz, and this clock signal is utilized by this processor as a reference signal during the processing of various instructions. Okay, right. Now here you can see, now we come to this side, right, of the board. So here you can see there are pins are available like this. There are various pins are available, and these pins are numbered as here 0, 1, 2, like this up to 13, right? So from 0 to 13 total there are these 14 pins are there. These are 14 pins numbered as 0 to 13, and these pins are digital pins. These pins are digital pins. This is point number 1, and these pins are IO pins. IO pins. So now what is the meaning of this digital and IO? The meaning of digital pins means these pins can receive, or these pins can generate digital signals only, right? This means they can receive or generate a signal which is in the range of 0 to 5 volt. So these are digital pins. Secondly, these are IO pins. IO means I means input, O means output. So these pins can act as a input pin or output pin. So here any pin can be programmed as a input pin or output pin, and obviously these pins will be digital, right? So for example, suppose to this pin number 8. Suppose we have programmed this pin number 8 as a input pin, right? As a input pin. So this programming we will do by writing the instructions. We can make this pin as a input pin, and once the pin number 8 is declared as a input pin, then it can receive a digital value either 0 volt or 5 volt, right? So in this way it is a digital pin, and here in this example it is a output input pin. And we will take another example. Suppose now this pin number 11, if we program this pin number 11 as a output pin, then from pin number 11, if you check the voltage at any point of time, either it will be 0 volt or it will be 5 volt, right? It will not be in between 0 and 5. It will be either 0 or 5, because these pins are digital pins. So you must remember that pin number 0 to pin number 13, these pins are digital pins and they are IO pins. Means they can be programmed as input pin or they can be programmed as output pin. Okay. So now here you observe here few pins like pin number 3, pin number 5, pin number 6, pin number 9, pin number 10 and pin number 11. How many? These 6 pins. You observe these 6 pins. In front of these pins, numbers, you can find one symbol is there like this, right? So this symbol indicates these are PWM capable pins. PWM capable pins. So these 6 pins are PWM capable. PWM is pulse width modulation. Pulse width modulation. Right? So what is the application of this pulse width modulation? See, already I told you these pins from 0 to 13 are digital pins, means either they may, so when we declare these pins as an output pin, at that time either these pins will generate 0 volt or they will generate 5 volt, right? Not in between 0 to 5. But if at any point of time you want an output which is analog in nature, means which may vary from 0 to 5 volt, right? 0 to 5 volt. If you want to generate an output which may vary from 0 to 5 volt, means which is analog in nature. So for that generation of those analog type of signals, here in Arduino Uno, pulse width modulation technique is used for the generation of analog signals. And these 6 pins, pin number 6, 3, 5, 6, 9, 10 and 11, these pins can be used as PWM pins, right? So these pins are having dual function. Dual function means they can be used as a digital input output pins, as well as they can be used as a analog output pins, right? And here the analog signals will be generated by using pulse width modulation technique. So we will discuss about this pulse width modulation technique separately in separate application, right? At that time in detail we will discuss how we will generate the analog signal by using PWM technique, right? But right now you must understand this thing. Pin number 0 to 13 are having dual function. They can be used as a digital input or output pins. And the second function is pin number 3, 5, 6, 9, 10, 11. These 6 pins are having PWM capabilities. So these pins can be used to generate an analog signal in the range of 0 to 5 volt by using PWM technique. Okay, right. Now, as we know that to sense the external environment, suppose we want to sense the temperature of this room. For that we will use the sensors like temperature sensor. And generally the sensors in most of the cases, they generate the analog signals. But here the microcontroller which we are having, this ATmega 328, this microcontroller, it is digital in nature. So we need the digital signal basically. Okay, we need basically the digital signal which will be processed by this processor. So suppose here we have some sensor is there. So this is sensor. So this sensor will sense the environment, right? And it will generate analog signal. Analog signal. And these analog signals from these pins A0 to A5, so you can see what is written here, analog in. These are analog input pins. So there are these 6 pins, right? There are 6 analog input pins in Arduino Uno, A0 to A5. So analog signals can be connected to these pins, right? Like for suppose here the output of this sensor, which is analog signal, we have connected to A0. So now the analog input which can enter in this pins are from 0 to 5 volt analog signal. Any voltage in this range can enter through this pin, and internally it will go to this Atmega 328 microcontroller, and inside this microcontroller there is one ADC is there, analog to digital converter is there, right? So once the analog signal will enter and it will go to the ADC, this ADC will generate digital signal, right? And that digital signal will be utilized by this processor for the processing. Okay, so here we will connect the analog signals with the Arduino Uno. So there are 6 analog input pins are there. Okay, now here you can see this is one another processor is there, and this processor is used to transfer the data between this Arduino Uno or external computer in serial form. So there is one UART hardware is there, that is for serial transmission. There is one UART hardware is there. So see here, pin number 0 and pin number 1, these pins are used for the serial communication. So suppose this is our computer, right? This is our computer which we have connected with this Arduino, and if you want to send some data to this computer, right, then that data will be sent in serial form, right, from this pin number 1. This pin number 1 is TX, transmission. So from pin number 1 serially data will be transmitted. This is serial transmission pin. Same way pin number 0 is serial reception pin. If computer is sending some data serially, then this data will be received by this pin number 0, right? Because this is serial reception. Serial data will be received from this pin number 0. And to control this serial transmission, this IC is there. This is also a processor, and but its task is just to help in the serial communication, right? Now in front of this IC you see there are 2 LEDs. This is LED, here it is written TX. When the serial transmission of the data taking place, at that time this LED will blink. And see another LED here, and in front of that RX is written. So when the serial data is received by the Arduino board through pin number 0, that time this LED will blink. Okay, so these are the pins. Okay, one few more pins I will explain. Here this is one reset pin. Reset. Sometimes you might have observed, suppose these are the instructions which I have written, and this processor is executing these instructions one by one. But let us assume at this point, when processor is executing this instruction, at that time processor hang here, right? It is stuck at this point, and it happens, right? In your computer also it happens. Sometimes your computer hang. At that time what we do? We reset our computer. So same way, if at any point of time this processor it hang up at any certain instruction, then you can reset this processor. For reset, this button is available. You have to press this button, right? Then processor will be reset. So basically, to reset this processor, we have to apply a 0 volt signal, right? We have to apply a 0 volt signal. So this button here, it is connected. It is connected in such a way, when you press this, a 0 volt signal is given to this processor. So it will reset. Now another provision is there to reset this processor. This pin you see here, reset pin. If you apply a 0 volt signal at this pin, then also your processor will reset, right? So these are the two provisions for reset. Now suppose externally we have connected here some components like sensors, some LEDs or some switches. Now to operate those LEDs and switches, suppose we want some voltage 5 volt, right? So one option we are having, we separately we should have some 5 volt option, and we connect that 5 volt to these sensors and some LEDs. But you can utilize this board also. In this board, see this 5 volt pin is there. This 5 volt pin is basically generating a 5 volt, is generating this 5 volt output. So we can take the 5 volt directly from this pin also, and we can utilize that 5 volt in our some external hardware. So just like 5 volt, there is one 3.3 volt pin also. So from this 3.3 volt pin, we can get the output of 3.3 volt, right? Okay. And so let us assume, suppose we have one LED. Okay, we have one LED. This is one LED. Now to operate this LED, we want to connect this end to plus 5 volt and this end to ground. So one option is we have one separate power supply, and from that power supply we get the 5 volt plus 5 volt and ground connection, and we can connect here. And the second option is we can get this 5 volt from this Arduino board, and we directly connect this here, and this ground we can directly connect to this pin. So now this LED you can make this LED to operate. So in this way directly you can take these voltages. Okay, so this is the background about this board, and in next lecture we will discuss about the software environment, right? How we will develop the software for this Arduino Uno.